All right. Match day 30. Would this have been was am I bugging or has this been the last match day of the season? Like this time frame? I couldn't remember
Yep.
where it lined up. Would the season have ended?
It would have ended earlier.
Oh, even earlier
last
than
week.
this?
I think last weekend or the weekend before would have been the last. Because this would have been, I think, around Champions League final time.
Yes.
True, yeah. Champions League, yeah, we already passed Champions League final. Forget about that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
the first time in 25 years that there's been a Bundesliga game in June.
Yeah.
This week's match days.
It's funny, like right about now, you even start. It feels like we'd be starting to think about preseason. Like, all right, let's get ready for this PTS. But it's weird. It's going to be a weird off season too. Maybe thinking about still getting back in September. So we'll see how all of that pans out. There's still been some talks about the transfer window and how all of that's going to work out. Once we get concrete details, we'll talk about that on the show. But I think for the time being, it's safe to assume that guys that contracts end at the end of this month will still be eligible. I know that there's been some talk that maybe that won't be the case. I still kind of feel like it will because it'll just be crazy if it's not. But we'll wait and see how all of those regulations pan out. Kicking things off this week, Gladbach. And if you listened to our show last week, there was a lot of talk about Gladbach, about where they'll end up this season, about where they are in the hierarchy of Bundesliga clubs. They missed the mark this week. I will point out, though, Keenan has been a firm believer that Freiburg were a relegation team. So,
like 6 months ago, a statement.
So there that is.
Turns out Schalke was the one that was going to collapse.
Well, I mean, the rebuttal there is they were a relegation team last year, so I mean they're right back where they were. I mean, Steven even talked about this. It's like the team went up and they regressed right back to where they were pre-Wagner.
It's not like every year there's a team that seems to crash and burn.
All right. We're not going to entertain this though. Nils Peterson, my man, gets it done. Freiburg didn't deserve to win this one, boys. They didn't. They a draw at the most. Gladbach's got to be sick. They had chances. The Neuhaus one early on. They just flooded numbers in the box. Good save, good deflection. They put it away, but it's called offsides. There was a number like that. The guys were devastated. Because they knew that they needed this one, and they bottled it. I guess the only silver lining that we'll get to is that Leverkusen got beat too. So there's that. That really makes things interesting, though. Freiburg, a team that were overachieving, then kind of hit a skid, and I think a lot of people were wishing harm upon them. But they're still proving that they're right there. We talked on the last week. They're in a position to compete for Europe. Keenan, what went wrong for Gladbach?
To be honest, they just didn't quite execute. They missed it by minimal margins, but Freiburg played to their advantage. They have a very sound team and defensive unit there. They were able to absorb a ridiculous amount of onslaught and pressure, and they made the most of the chances that were given to them, because before that goal, it looked like Gladbach was going to probably score like 6 or 7, and that Freiburg would spend about 5 minutes with the ball in the other side of the field. They were getting no possession. They barely had possession as it was. They capitalized on the one real solid chance that they got and put it away, and Gladbach really just didn't finish it. And Freiburg deserved the win. They were more clinical with the chances that they were presented with.
I feel you from that view. Schwallow had a heck of a day. One of my favorite goalkeepers in the league. Very overlooked. especially when he's fit again. Has some big saves. The other storyline of this one, Playa does pick up the red card, so he will be out for the Bayern fixture. And we will touch on that a little bit later because Bayern's going to be without a couple non-essentials leading to that one. So, yeah, good luck, Xerxes. Stevie. I can't remember last week. Were you with me? Gladbach, the better side than Leverkusen?
I was. I even put them as number 3 in the league.
I'll give you a quick second here. Does this performance and some lackluster performances kind of coming out of the break? I agree that they haven't looked the best. They haven't looked the most clinical. Does that make you second guess that, or do you think that coming down the stretch? I mean, and again, because Leverkusen did have the loss, they still are neck and neck. You second guessing, or you still sticking with Gladbach?
I'm still sticking with Gladbach. I think that red card for Playa really did them in. Because with the full squad, that their attack probably, and like from what just like reading the match like facts and everything, it's clear that Gladbach had a lot of chances to score, and like when they were a full 11 on 11. And then once Play got red carded, it seems like their attack kind of died down because obviously they had to play more defensively with one player down. Which that yellow card, and the first yellow card he has, probably the most controversial part of the whole entire match, more so than the goal, was the way that he got his red card.
Yeah.
But I still have faith in Gladbach to get the job done when the time is needed.
I guess Keenan would argue the time's now, right? 4 matches to go. This is where you got to win them. But
this is where you gotta win them. I mean, I know coming up obviously with Bayern, if they were able to sneak even a point away from Bayern, like if it ended up a draw, I think they would consider that given the remaining fixtures going forward. I think obviously Bayern is their biggest
they won the first game
block. Yeah, they did win the first game.
Yeah, they've been nasty against Bayern. I remember even last season.
The last time Bayern lost.
One of them was that?
The last time Bayern lost was against them.
Yeah. And I mean, we will touch on it, but the joke was Lewandowski and Thomas Muller, which is really not a joke, will not be in that game due to suspension. So there's that. I think that Bayern's playing at a level that they will be able to take care of them. But if you're a betting man, now's your chance, to capitalize on a wounded Bayern for a week. We at Pass the Sticks don't encourage that, but if you want to throw some money, the Trump check, here's your chance.
Be responsible now.
Be responsible. Nils Peterson, he's responsible. Very responsible putting the ball in the back of the net. Hey, look, that's all I've got for that one. Props to Freiburg. I love Freiburg, so it was difficult to watch this one because I needed Gladbach from going on this show and having to face you after a Gladbach loss is tough, but it's satisfying when Freiburg wins because their relegation side and whatnot.
Gladbach's going to finish 3rd, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
I mean, it's not. I mean, well, perfect segue.
No,
perfect segue. What is